compact SUVs might be dominating new car sales right now, but the humble hatchback hasn't been forgotten about. Certainly not by Kia. Welcome to Portugal and the launch of the all-new Kia Ceed, a car that means an awful lot to Kia, especially as since its inception, they've sold over 1 million of them. Just like many of its competitors, the new Ceed has gone on a real push-up market. Visually, a subtle silhouette gives way to intricate details, like the jewel-like daytime running lights that were encrusted in the slimline headlights. There's more distinctive lighting to be found at the back of the car, along with a neat boot spoiler. I think our test car in this handsome shade of blue and wearing a set of 17-inch alloy wheels looks the part, but if you fancy a slightly sportier look, a GT line model will follow later this year. It's a similar story with the interior, with high-quality materials replacing what were once scratchy plastics. Previous Kia Ceed's interior wasn't bad, but there's certainly more to look at in here, with gloss finishes and neat stitching on the dashboard. If you go for a grade with a touchscreen infotainment system, it comes standard with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You can have it as a 7-inch unit or this larger 8-inch touchscreen. It's nice and responsive, really ergonomic, and Kia's updated the graphics from its previous user interface, so it looks pretty smart too. Speaking of ergonomics, note how there's still plenty of switchgear down here. Whilst lots of cars have been moving all of the buttons into the touchscreen for a nice clean, slick dashboard, it's not really great when you're on the move to blindly stab at a screen when you just want to adjust the air conditioning. I quite like that there's something tactile down here. When it comes to seating, this car has been given the full leather treatment, and I have to say these seats are really supportive, particularly around your ribs, which maybe hints that the car is a bit more agile than before as it needs to hold you in place. More on that in a moment. It's good news if you sit in the back as well, as it has class-leading legroom. Boot space is also class-leading, but even more usefully, it's the widest and lowest boot in its class, making loading bulky stuff into the back even easier. Under the bonnet of this particular Ceed is the turbocharged 1 litre unit that you might be familiar with elsewhere in the Kia range. Here it features 118 brake horsepower and 127 pounds-feet of torque, which makes it good for around 11 seconds 0 to 62 with this manual transmission. Said gearbox is pretty good, it's a nice swift motion. I do wish maybe it had a little bit more weight to it, a bit like what the Focus has. This 3-cylinder unit is exceptionally quiet when cruising along. In fact, the car's quiet full stop. A whispered conversation is not beyond the realms of possibility. And bear in mind that this isn't a Rolls-Royce, it's a C-segment, widely bought hatchback. It's quite impressive. I have to say it's right up there with class best in terms of MVH. And because it's quiet and there's not much in the way of vibration coming back into the cabin, it makes it a car that's not a strain to drive over long distances. Even sitting on these larger 17-inch alloy wheels, the suspension does a great job of soaking up road imperfections and not setting a jarring shudder through the cabin. But the springs and dampers in this car haven't just been tuned for comfort, as the Ceed competes for class leadership in terms of handling. Now, the previous Ceed wasn't a bad handling car in the slightest, but I mean this is right up there with the class best. On more challenging roads, the car feels really composed. There's not much in the way of body roll, and ample grip means that there's plenty of confidence when you're sat behind the wheel. There's a nice natural weighting to the steering as well. It doesn't feel artificial like a lot of its competitors. Yes, there could be a bit more connection between this wheel and the ones touching tarmac, but overall, it's a good effort. The new Kia Ceed is a fantastic all-rounder and is also available with a new 1.4 litre engine or an all-new 1.6 litre diesel, so there's plenty of choice for everybody. If you need more space, there's an SW Estate. If you want something a bit different, there's a shooting brake coming later this year. The 1 litre car claims 50.4 mpg on the new WLTP cycle, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically a more realistic expectation of what cars will get in real-world driving. Emissions are at 128 grams per kilometre of CO2. All things considered, practicality, performance, fuel economy, standard equipment, I think the Kia Ceed has real potential to upset the current pecking order of the C-segment hatchback. If you fancy one on your driveway, it starts from £18,295 and expect to see them hitting the road from the 1st of August this year.
Thanks very much for watching, and let us know what you think in the comments below. Please subscribe for all of the latest and greatest cars to hit the road. For breaking news and written reviews, visit www.insidelane.co.uk.